All right, a very good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome, 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 welcome to our broadcast. Wherever you're joining us from tonight, we are happy that all of you who are here with us tonight are here. You all know how special you all are to us. We're getting some trouble going through to Facebook among some other places. For those of you on with us, share the live for us and smash that emoji button as well. Good to have Paula Mattis here, Leslie, Neville, Wumi, Vanessa, Sharon, and all the other folks who are joining us. Do let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. As I said, it's a privilege to have all of you in the ring with us tonight. Folks, welcome to our broadcast. Thanks for understanding with us last week and the week before that. We were in the National Assembly. There are a lot of budget issues we had to deal with on that front, folks. And it's not over. It is now beginning. It is now beginning, for that matter of fact, because we're working our way through that very budget process. This is budget 2026, and it spans the entire year. Believe it or not, it spans the entire year. So every now and again, we're going to be checking in to ensure you're all on the same page with what's happening in this country with the people money. Ever so often, we're going to be checking in just to make sure. You see, we got to hold them accountable. We got to hold them accountable. But we trust that you guys are well. Wherever you all are joining us from this evening, a very good evening to all of you. We're up this morning. Simple reason, we just couldn't get the camera to work. We were ready to go long before 8. We just couldn't get the camera to work long before 9. We're going to have all of you on this evening. We apologize. Good to have you, Pinky and Will and Nigel and Vanessa, Troy. I've met a number of you in the last month who've always spoke very, very, very nicely of our broadcast. And we're happy about that. We are happy about that. Good to see you folks here with us this evening, wherever you're joining us from. Let's start with our sister. Amanzo Walton is here, talking the things on the international relations front, the foreign affairs front, and what we didn't see in budget 2026 as we were on the subject matter. Some of the things that went missing, we got eyes on them. Amanzo Walton is here. Yep, this is For Ghana movement, still getting accustomed to it. For Ghana movement leader, Amanzo Walton Desir. I think she has dropped the Desir now. I got to get up to scratch for that. Take a look.
Ghana's immigration situation was the subject of the budget debate. Member of Parliament Amanzo Walton Desir accused the government of ignoring the immigration situation.
So foreign affairs can no longer be treated as routine and administrative. It must now be treated as national risk management. Our sovereignty rests on the strength of international law, credible diplomacy, strong institutions, and alliances that reinforce our legitimacy.
In her speech at the House, she said that sovereignty doesn't collapse dramatically. There are many factors, some of which may be at work today. External borrowing could affect Guyana's sovereignty. She recalled that she warned 4 years ago that the Venezuelan migrant situation was going to become an issue.
When migration is not properly managed, we feel it immediately, like I said. For years, last 3 years, I counted, they promised us a migration policy. Up to now, you don't even have, what the man said, the concept of a plan of a migration policy. If we are serious about protecting our sovereignty, our future budget must show a meaningful shift from symbolism to substance, and from this routine diplomacy that we see happening to strategic capability.
She said that there must be a strategy for engaging on behalf of the country. Then there is the issue of influence, a feature that is earned. She said that Guyana has long recognized that there is a migration problem. However, the government hasn't budgeted for the migration policy.
A troubling feature of this government in the handling and management of our foreign relations is secrecy. Everything is shrouded in secrecy. We have to read in Caribbean media that we have agreements in place to accept third state nationals.
The debates have since ended.
Yeah, indeed. Those debates did end, and then we took on the estimate, scrutinizing it line by line. You all know how we did it. Line by line, program by program, agency by agency. And some of you showed up and cheered us along the way. And here we are now. The budget has been passed, folks. The budget has been passed, and we are working our way. We're working our way through what is currently. How y'all folks doing? Mandy and Donald Abrams and Pamela and Sheena Hazel, Marika Jackman, and good to have all of you folks on the live tonight. Guys, I trust that you are great. Wherever you all are joining us from, I trust that you all are great. You're in a good place. You know, your health is 100. And even if it's not quite 100, we're praying that it becomes 100. How are you guys doing? Welcome to our broadcast. I had a fantastic weekend. How about you guys? I had a great weekend. You know, my little sister's a pastor, Crystal Brad, and she's visiting from New York, as my son says it. And I went to hear her preach in Mecca over the weekend. I had a great Sunday afternoon. Had a great Saturday as well. You know, it was Valentine's. You know, took the old girl took my wife. I almost ended my own life there. Almost unalive myself. You know, took my wife to breakfast Saturday morning, and then we had lunch out and so on. I don't like cooking, so I can buy the food. I can buy the food. Pamela, good to see you, and Brenda and Isabella and Humi, Jennifer, good to have you there. I almost unalive myself there, Humi. Almost Manly and Sion, and you know, that's like playing with a loaded gun live. But good to have all of you on with us. You know, a couple of things we're still struggling with. Could you imagine how long ago the 2020 elections were? How long ago? It was a little while ago, and we're still struggling to bring finality. You know, and you must remember Big Sister Valda Lawrence. Remember as well Carl Smith Joseph. You know, you get a number of persons, Lowenfield and others, Eral and others. 6 years later, how much of taxpayers' money did we waste? And we didn't get a single conviction as yet. And now they're telling us in the trial into the quote-unquote alleged trumped-up bogus irregularities during the March 2020 general regional elections. They resume today, believe it or not. Just when they think the thing put to bed, they think in the grave, it kicks out. So this trial continued today at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Right? They're telling us it's after a break of more than 2 months. At which point is going to no case submission? Huh? At which point, when the case is continuing before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty, yeah, she's presiding over the case, right? And of course, I said we do have a comrade and colleague, Valda Lawrence, a former Chief Elections Officer, Mr. Keith Lowenfield, former Region 4 Returning Officer Clement Mingo, a former Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Myers. 6 years later, what about the injustice of these folks being dragged before the court? 6 years. And this installed regime will tell us, oh, they have cantaloads of evidence. And in 6 years, you can't get a conviction? Marlon Thomas is on the live here with us. I know where Marlon lives in New York, as my son says. In their elections that happened the year after ours, I was late in the year. You've had convictions from people trying to overturn the will till people have been pardoned. And in a country where we say we got cantaloads of evidence of infractions, 6 years later, Onika Brahma, Sheena Hazel, we can't get one conviction. Listen to me. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, Marlene. Luan, Morna, If you're saying the wrong thing, y'all tell me. Morna should be coming your way soon. I hope you still got a good breakfast by your end. Any day now. Morna service from Port Kaituma. I love to travel. Studio business, tell you. I don't like it. I like to be on the ground, talking to people, looking to see, scrutinizing, holding them accountable, holding the feet to the fire. And y'all, there's a lot of nonsense happening in this country. I did warn y'all, the further out you go, the more the corruption rife. The more the corruption plenty, the more the corruption. Dora. Like getting my creoles now. I like how Manzo switched it up there earlier. You know, when I was listening it much earlier in the day, I had a good laugh. A man says, with all the Queen's English took and came. You know how we say it colloquially. And then she said, I check it for myself. You know, we know to dabble, move smoothly between the dialects, Creolese and Standard English. I check it for myself. Good evening, folks. So we got to keep our eyes on this matter. I know you all don't finish already, this case. That's before the magistrate's court. Y'all still this thing done. At what point you get no case submission? There must be an injustice. You got people before the court and you're digging and you're digging and you're digging. You have an end you want to see. But the process and the evidence you got didn't support it. But we knew from inception. Anybody surprised Bender Bailey that in 6 years you had another election and you did not even have one conviction? In the United States, January 6th is the infamous day. The president of January 6th will re-election again. Pardon people from that process. And we can't convict one person. One person. There's something right with that, I don't know. You know, try the whole system. You got people running before the court. 6 years. 6 years. We can't get one conviction. So we're watching this, folks. We're following this. You know. And we know this ain't going no place. This ain't going no place. Y'all know we got a leader of the opposition and a half. Y'all know we got a leader in the opposition and a half. You know? We used to be in court quite a lot when APNU had the leader of the opposition office. We used to be in court a lot. We used to be carrying the PP to court. we used to be carrying them to court. We took them to court for the constitutional agencies, took them to court on the Haitian matter. We took them to court on a number of things. Suspension from the National Assembly, bills we thought were improperly passed. We held their feet to the fire. You know, see the opposition did before the court a lot now. A lot of personal matter care story. And so leader of the opposition today, leader of the opposition, Azruddin Mohammed. And he was, what is the word? Apprehended. He was detained, arriving at court late. Apparently, it's the second time it happened. He was warned the first time, apparently. And today, Magistrate Judy Latchman, she apparently wasn't having it. But that's only half the story. And I want to talk half and left half. Because Mr. Mohammed, the leader of the opposition, the learned leader of the opposition, did say, you know, that the PPP slashed his tires. He said he was set to come. Let him tell you the story for himself. You know, the whole thing, top to bottom. Take a look.
That I'm going through in this country is unbelievable under the PPP administration. I have utmost respect for the magistrate. I think I attended this court more than 12 times. I always would be here before my attorneys. Only once I was late, and that was 9:02 a.m., 2 minutes past 9. That was the second hearing. The magistrate told me, please ensure you attend court on time. And from that day, I never ever attended court late. This morning at 7:20 a.m., I called one of my attorneys, Damien De Silva. I told him, please ensure you guys come on time. Now, all my vehicles, right, the insurance companies, they're not renewing the insurances because the wicked, vindictive, treacherous PPP government instructed them not to renew my insurances. I gotta depend on some of my staff to use their vehicles, like what I've been using for the past couple of weeks or even months. So this morning, something strange happened. He called me, the driver. He got a purple Allium, and he told me both tires are slashed on the car. And this is not the first time it happened, you know. Weeks ago, when I had to attend the court, one tire was slashed, so he had to change the wheel, the spare wheel in the truck. But this time, this morning, he couldn't have changed two wheels because just one spare wheel the car would have in the car shop. Two wheels were slashed this morning. And I suspect that the special branch, the arm of the Guyana Police Force, headed by the PPP again, they did this purposely so I can arrive court late this morning. That is exactly what transpired. I always would be here early on time. The reporters know this. You would see me sitting here before court started. So this morning, that is the reason why I attended court late. That is the reason. Both tires were slashed in the car.
All right. That video is compliments of our friends in the media fraternity. Thank you guys so much for sharing that with us. You know the whole thing now, chapter bottom, of course, you know the Mohammeds are before the court facing extradition committal hearing. And that's the language of the law, right? He was supposed to be at an extradition committal hearing today. Because of his lateness, the magistrate presiding over that matter, Judy Magistrate Judy Lachman, her worship, warned that repeated tardiness could result in the withdrawal of his bail of $150,000. We told that Mr. Mohammed, leader of the opposition, Mohammed, he apologized and told the court exactly what you heard there. The driver discovered two damaged tires this morning, delaying his arrival. And we're told that even though he was initially detained by police, the magistrate allowed him ultimately to remain on bail, but cautioned that future lateness would not be tolerated. Not be tolerated. But I want you all to know, Muhammad is like, this PPP government do anything to hold down, to stifle dissent, to not give you a fair advantage. And those of you who follow these issues very, very closely, you all know by now what is recorded in the Commonwealth Observer Mission Report, the EU Observer Mission Report about that uneven playing field. You all know that by now. Right? And I know also you are big enough to understand what's happening in this country. I was so shook recently when I learned what was going on with Starbuck News, for instance. In 1 month's time, Starbuck News will close as a newspaper. And I can't underscore enough the immensity of that loss of Starbuck News as part of the fourth estate in this country. Just last week, I personally raised this matter, not the closure of Starbuck News, but money owed to Starbuck News. Raised it in the National Assembly as we were discussing the budget for government entities like DPI. Starbuck News is owed over $80 million. Now, if your income stream being tied up for months on end, how are you going to pay staff? How are you going to stay cutting edge? How are you going to buy newsprint? Huh? And you only got to pay writers, no. You got to pay auxiliary staff as well. How are you going to do that when you got a client like the government? It's a good client because of the volume of advertising. But if the volume and the velocity in terms of paying the money, turning over the money, and no doubt it is issues like this that's played a part. I even want to see the downfall of Starbucks News. I want y'all to know we're going into a dark period, you know. If the only news that's coming out is government news, imagine if Kaichur, God forbid, becomes unprofitable and they decide we got to shut our doors. This thing is making sense. It's Kwame and Sien we got to listen to all the time. It's Kwame. I keep telling y'all this thing getting grave. If businesses like Starbucks News suffering loss to the effect where they got to close, some of y'all take us lightly, you know. When we tell y'all, we fed a beg, you know. When this year started, I said, I'm done with that. I know some people understand the assignment, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. But you can imagine it's only Kwame NCN we can hear. Kwame DPI. The room with the news. The toilet paper, newspaper name, Times or whatever the name is. That's it. They don't like dissent. Their longtime friend, Mr. Muhammad, they were friends. They fall out now. And if you would do that to your own friend, and it's not your friend, what are you going to do to me? But we're going to keep on keeping on. In spite of, we're going to keep on keeping on. But this is the latest on this front concerning the detention of the leader of the opposition, Ashuddin Mohammed, and as I said, his subsequent release from custody. All over this starting, as the magistrate says, she fed up now, come to court in time or else. Right? Come to court or else. And of course, you heard the talk of bias and all that. I let's say to you folks that this spending spree now start. Folks, when you look around this country and you see what they do with our money in this country, my God. Imagine quite recently, I was quizzing the Minister of Education on that school in Region 9, on the outskirts of Ledhem, Tabachinga. I was quizzing them on that. The Minister of Education, this is a school that's been constructed to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. The Minister of Education, Sonia Parag, the Honorable Sonia Parag. She said the school is now her school. She don't have responsibilities for Minister of Education. It's a regional school. Priya come up now. Priya said the school it belongs to the region. It's Sonia's school. I said, Minister, you understand what you're doing? You understand that you sit down here, right? And you throw your colleague under the bus? Huh? She said, no, Sharon, it's not like that. I said, well, you explain, what it is to me. I said, you just said you think the school is not a lady school. Right? Here you just said the school is not a lady school. You're throwing the minister under the bus. Is that what you're doing? My God. Take a listen to some of what the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the lady who wants to be the next president of Guyana, Prem Malik Chan said.
Remember Mr. Duncan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a quick follow-up.
St. Ignatius Door?
Not as yet. The minister did proffer some information on Tabachinga Secondary. And I visited several times, and the school seemed to be languishing. I want to know, when is that school going to be completed? That
Minister.
$3 billion school.
The school is at
But-
75%. But you can go to my page, search Tapachinga, and you will find me. It's true, I may have blocked Mr. Duncan if he was rude and obnoxious on my page. But if you go to my page and you search for Tapachinga, and spell it right, of course, what you will find is that videos of me speaking about the delay of the school, in one case to the contractor, in one case, in two cases to the contractor. What you see in the school that is delayed is a desire by the government to make sure that there is universal secondary education across Region 9. It is one of 9 schools being built. School went out for public tender. And the contractor, I don't remember who it is, but the contractor there won the bid and was awarded the project. And he has been delayed. It's 75% completed, and I'm told that by April of this year, it is going to be finished.
Mr. Chair, I want to come back to Tabachinga Secondary School and to ask, who is the contractor on the school?
Q&A Construction.
Thank you very much, Minister. Mr. Chair, I want to ask the Minister if she may have visited the school recently. I noticed she said the school is 75% complete.
As advised.
And
I visited the school the last time in July or August of 2025.
Thank you, Minister. I visited 2 weeks ago, and my humble estimation, Minister, that school cannot be completed by April, and it's not 25% complete unless they're mobilizing off-site. So I wanted to ask the question though, from the line here, Minister, how much of this is to the school completion?
No, this school, this school is the Ministry of Education school. They are building the school through the Ministry of Education. They've warranted money to the region, but they still consider it Ministry of Education, a Ministry of Education
Through the
project.
chair, Minister, when I asked Ministry of Education, they said the region.
I heard that. Someone told me that downstairs, but that's not accurate because it was. Let me put it
Minister-
this way: who you asked in education?
Minister, I don't know if you're throwing your colleague under the bus, but
No, Sherrod, this is.
Okay, honorable members,
Honorable member.
don't throw me on the.
Throw here under the bus now. Running you over a couple times well. Politically, of course. I'm gonna say threatening the speaker now. They don't like anything but tension. The Minister of Education, Sonia Parag, similar questioning. The minister said the school is a regional school. The school is a regional school. Right? The school is a regional school. And now the Minister of Local Government, the region, on which the school should fall, she said, no, that's why the school is not being built. And that is how hundreds of millions of dollars, nay, billions of dollars get tied up. You see, because all they're interested in doing is spending the money. They're just interested in spending the money. And see, once a contract gets initiated and them percentages kick back and kick forward and kick to the side, they have been forwarded to wherever they got to be forwarded to. That's all they're interested in. That is all they're interested in. She can tell me I must go on she page. If I don't go on the ground, I can see why she could tell me I could go on she page. But I feel the minister is past me. I go to verify for myself because you can't trust damn thing they're telling you. Now if I gone and what? Sonia said the school is preschool. My arch nemesis is preschool. So I gone quizzing. I said, praise you school. President, that's not me on. Now if I go back to Sonia said, well, it's Colin Crowell school. Colin says Kwame school. Who are we holding accountable in this country? You all think you understand the gravity of what's happening out there? You think you understand that? You understand it? And that is why the fellow said what the fellow said concerning the Hosoro Secondary School. You all forget that already? You all forget what the fellow said about the Hosoro Secondary School? The man said before the cut check, the check cut, somebody call he said, you got check for thing? I got to get 30%. He said before he knew he had the contract, somebody called, he said, you can get a contract from the government. You owe me 60%. That is why nothing is being done. Why do you think the project languishing? When you got to give away 60% of the money for the project work to acquire the project, when you got to give away that amount of money, folks, you all understand where we're in this process. And these issues are real. If I didn't go to Tabachinga myself, walk around that school, then I got to take what they tell me. That's Region 9. You want to tell you all the bill to be able to do that, to verify that? That's the whole parliamentary salary man gone. Let's put it in those terms. But you got to go. If I didn't go Sororo and see what they're doing there, the criminality, then the minister will say, oh, Sharon, you can check my page. you can check my page. Oh, that is holding people accountable. I'm just going to check your page now. I'm going to check the ground. It's criminal. 1.558 trillion. Let me ask you the question. How much of that going to wastage? Huh? How much of that going to thief out? By the time they're done with we might be spending just the 5.58, whatever it is, of the trillion. The trillion on gone and left the 5.8. That is why we have to go. I keep saying all the time, this country is now Region 4. And the further out you go, you got so many secondary schools like that, languishing. That's why they like infrastructural projects. And they can siphon off a big money quick, one time. Never mind a $1,000 thing. $1 million theft is an insult to them. How you can build a big house overnight? Huh? How you can buy $150 million house? How you can do it? How you can buy 2 and 3? How you can buy condo in Florida for $700,000 US? These are the projects that afford them that. See, the projects are started, and then you get the kick back, they kick to the front, they kick to the side. And then they halted. 2-3 years, they halted. And the government to save face, put more money into it, Bellevue Hospital, Bellevue Pump Station, put more money into it, and then shift them around the ministries. You take tourism, you got home affairs, you come here. Shift them around. And then they pretend we're doing all this work, all the thief and work. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. 1.558 trillion Savage, Petal, Holly, Joan. How much in this, Joan? From the last budget to now, you must get a 3,000 increase in pension or something in there. From the 1.558 trillion at 3,000. And then boys, they got 300,000 US in there. You know what I wondered? When this budget got passed, Sonia, Jacqueline, let me go and Holly. When this budget passed, how many persons got a call? Like that contractor and say, thing coming your way. Right? I gotta get something. Money passed, thing coming your way. I gotta get something. How many persons were subjected to that kind of viciousness? How many persons? Right? You that good, you gotta call ahead. I ain't supposed to tell you this, but thing coming down. Thing coming down. You better remember me. If you want things nice always, you better remember where you come from. That's a country we're running. You gotta be fair, man. Is that country we'll be running? Eh? Is that country you want? You can't run a country like that. You can't run a country like that. You think there's one thing wrong in this place? Nothing irregular. I want to play for you guys some of what the contractors said. Right? Jackson Nevins on the Hoserora School. Folks, the thing crawl my skin, I tell you. When I heard it, take a listen.
High level criminality, next level that. Racism, next level. Me, in a project down there, large project, run over $1 billion. And before I was even notified by the project, I receiving calls from people I never meet. You understand? Me receive a call from a man identify himself as the son of Minister Public Works down there. I'm done come to collect some money on behalf of himself and men from tender board. And them men are tell us straight, you can't survive in the market if you not offer them protection. I suffer them extortion run. You understand? So by the time you get the next call here, say, alright, you what going on? We increase some money for your thing. You have a sign feed. I challenge anybody in Guyana right now. Because they still owe me. I want them to look at Osororo Secondary School. How much lot 5? What was the tendered price for lot 5? Right? Because President, me want my money, you know. So, I tell you now. Look at what was the tendered price for lot 5. And after you see what the value was for all the bidders, look how much it was awarded for. And then I want them to tell me if there's any discrepancies, because the information are there, you can access it. Right? And then I want them to ask how much variation they put into the project and what was the reason they did not pay us the variations. They demand of us to supply materials that are not in the tender. Why did they demand that? Simply because they tell them, boy, I can't pay no more money to them. Because they might tell you, this money I want $100 million, this money I want $60 million, this money I need to get, what? I think 10 million or some nonsense like that to make sure, say, you know, you think them can go through. We have our contractors down there, a closed gate. Imagine that. Asking why is it that this company get the project. Guyana is a corrupt and a dangerous place. I see them right down there right now, see them going after the opposition leader. The whole of them down the corrupt, you know. Why?
In his own words. in his own words, all them corrupt. All of them corrupt. That's what the fella said. That's a contractor. And the whole Soror Secondary School. She think at the pass. How many people get a call since the budget passed? I said, think coming your way. 10 million. That's the consultation fee. 10 million is the consultation fee. I said, God, it's a corrupt country. Every time I see them prancing around, I remember that. So you had this $1.558 trillion that was passed. But also, just in December, in a few days, they spent $18 billion. Well, let me make sure to reconcile that now. $18 billion in just a couple of days. Part that went to the great bishop, the building he building at the back here by Higgs Bosch. The building for the last 5-6 years. 75. They like use the percentage, 75% complete. I've seen this couple steel beams going up. 75% complete. $18 billion. He billing. He can't finish bill. You ever heard the scripture, ever learning, but never coming to the knowledge of the truth? That's them. Ever building. Hostoro Secondary School, incomplete. Tabachinga, incomplete. Napi, incomplete. There is one in Jawala, in the Mazaruni, incomplete. Karasabai Secondary, incomplete. Imagine all them contractors have to give a kickback. A 40 million here, a 50 million, so you understand why governments have changed and schools still billing, same schools. Because you got the Jackson Nivens admission there and the level of corruption. You can't tell them boys they get paid though. Them boys get somebody in the ministry watching the checks, taking photographs and sending. Them boys carried out an art form. To an art form. Let's we get it. During the course of the passage of the National Budget 2026, I heard all kinds of lofty talk and guardians of the democracy and bastions of what do you call it? Transparency and good governance. Right? Oh, they brought back everything. If you go by their history, everything they banned. They built the first school, the first house, the first hospital. When they took over 2020, it was barren land. But facts are stubborn things, you know. These are the same hypocrites that refused to swear in the leader of the opposition for over 3 months. And then we got this continuing democratic problem. They got problem with democracy, you know. In Region 10. When last year I went to Linden. I even asked him when last year went North Park Rimers or the South Park Rimers. I even asked him when he went to Lethem or the Mazaruni. When last year went to Linden. And I got this problem with democracy in Linden concerning the election for the regional chairman. Now, when once their Region 10 guy, who was once our guy, Mark Gorin, you know, he's a decent guy on most days, but the botheration. They want Mark in there as their guy. Of course, we have said we go into any election, you know, the will of the people, but not the Ministry of Local Government. You see? It's always them little pious ones. You know, it's always them little quiet ones who compose themselves as the bastions of something, the paragon of something else. It's always those ones. Oh, Priya come with her Ozempic self and, you know, sauntering and hair blowing in the wind, and you'll say, yeah, we're ready to election president. Better the devil you know. She says she ain't getting involved. It's her. Ario. Dwight John, I think, who is refusing to summon this meeting? It is her, Ario. And she can lecture you, about your conduct and your undemocratic behavior. Oh, they've carried hypocriticalness and hypocriticalness to an art form. But we got to watch them. And here is Sweden representative during the passage of this 2026 national budget, calling them out on the same subject matter. He said, y'all are hypocrites, Jebusites, Nakavakamites, Philistines, and Pharisees.
Region 10 continues to be without a regional democratic council with an elected chairman and vice chairman. Member of Parliament Ryan Richards, in his recent address to the National Assembly, described the situation as a democratic oversight. He said that the region has been sidelined from the preparation of the budget, a lawful role.
The regional chairman and vice chairman are not ceremonial figures. They are central pillars of regional administration and they entrusted under the Constitution and Local Democratic Organ Act with leadership, coordination, and political oversight of regional affairs.
We invest in nationhood won the region ahead of a partnership for national unity. Neither party had a majority, so there was need for negotiation. Win refused to negotiate. The result is that the region is the only one not duly constituted with a chairperson and vice chairperson.
Their absence has created a vacuum in the authority in Region 10, one that undermines decision-making, weakens accountability, and leaves citizens without a clear political leadership in the regional level.
Richard said that the people did vote for administrative limbo.
Regional councillors have been reduced to mere spectators, presented with figures rather than engaged in planning, informed after decisions were made rather than before. This approach, Mr. Speaker, violates both spirit and the letter of democratic governance. Mr. Speaker, when councillors are excluded from budget preparation processing, community needs go unrepresented. Regional disparities deepen, accountability is weakened, public trust erodes.
He said that the situation sets a dangerous precedence.
You know, that could sound a little bit like prelim dog, you know. That's how they would come and talk. Oh, good governance and corruption index, and we've improved so much, and such and this and that and the next. But it's just hypocrites. It's just hypocrites. Hypocrites. All of them. Hypocrites. Just in case you missed our opening, we're talking about a man who walked in this year and some of the stuff she said on the international front. So you got the domestic, you got the regional, and then you get these boys. You know, very early in life, I learned that movement is not always the same as progress, you know. And what you got in this government is a lot of movement. That's why we got to check them. That's why we got to scrutinize. That's why we got to hold them accountable. That's why we got to always call for transparency, accountability, and good governance. Can't trust a damn thing they say. None of it. None of it. None. Here's what Mansa Walton is here. She opened for us. This is what she said.
Guyana's immigration situation was the subject of the budget debate. Member of Parliament Amanza Walton the Zeros accused the government of ignoring the immigration situation.
So foreign affairs can no longer be treated as routine and administrative. It must now be treated as national risk management. Our sovereignty rests on the strength of international law, credible diplomacy, strong institutions, and alliances that reinforce our legitimacy.
In her speech at the House, she said that sovereignty doesn't collapse dramatically. There are many factors, some of which may be at work today. External borrowing could affect Guyana's sovereignty. She recalled that she warned 4 years ago that the Venezuelan migrant situation was going to become an issue.
When migration is not properly managed, we feel it immediately, like I said. You know, for years, last 3 years, I counted, they promised us a migration policy. Up to now, you don't even have, what the man said, the concept of a plan of a migration policy. If we are serious about protecting our sovereignty, our future budget must show a meaningful shift from symbolism to substance, and from this routine diplomacy that we see happening to strategic capability.
She said that there must be a strategy for engaging on behalf of the country. Then there is the issue of influence, a feature that is earned. She said that Guyana has long recognized that there is a migration problem. However, the government hasn't budgeted for the migration policy.
A troubling feature of this government in the handling and management of our foreign relations is secrecy. Everything is shrouded in secrecy. We have to read in Caribbean media that we have agreements in place to accept third state nationals.
The debates have since ended.
All right, that's going to do it for us at this end, good folks. That's our time. That's our broadcast. It's a privilege being back with you folks. Good to see Mandy, Sarah, Pedal, Stacey, and Stool on the live tonight. Good to see Tommy and Savage. I see you all arguing in the comments. There's good to have you. Pedal, good to see you on the live tonight. Thanks for joining us, folks. Share the live for us. Smash that emoji button as well, folks, so that others get the valid, incredible information too. That's going to do it for us. Stay safe, guys. On this Monday, the 18th, 16th day. My God, like I jumping forward. She ain't got on the glasses. The 16th day of February. Good to have each and every one of you here, folks. Stay safe. That's our time. That's our program. Stay safe. Have a great evening.